Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf. Today I'm joined by Thomas Campbell, Master Club Fitter here at Second Swing. Thank you for joining us again for another weekly live broadcast every Thursday at 10 a.m. Thomas with me today. We think we're going to focus on lie angle and loft today. And these are kind of the very important pieces of a club fitting. And a lot of times, maybe the more casual golfer will overlook these things and how important they are. But we've got a little bit of a demonstration plan today to maybe showcase why lie angle and loft and things like that are very important for anybody's fitting and the clubs in their bag. So first of all, I just want to remind everybody, actually no live broadcast next week for Thanksgiving, of course. And also, if you would please subscribe to the channel and like the video and leave your comments as well in the chat. We'd love to get the conversation rolling a little bit. If you have any questions, Thomas will be able to answer them here today. But otherwise, I think lie angle and loft are, Thomas, really big pieces in a fitting. And we've done some videos on the channel before of kind of, the stark examples of why they're so important. But give me the kind of synopsis as a fitter, like when you're in a fitting and you see someone's lie angle is off or you see someone's loft is off, and how much really are they losing in their game?
Well, lie angle is important. We're going to be covering driver and irons today. So direction. If your lie angle is off with your irons, generally you're going to see the ball go left or go right. If the club's too upright, there's a tendency for you to catch the heel of the club, and it's going to kind of kick that toe around, and the ball's going to go to the left. You're going to see some marks more or less on the heel of the club.
Right.
The other end of the spectrum, if the club's too flat, you're going to catch the toe first, it's going to kind of dig in, you're going to lose some distance, and it'll kind of push out to the right there. So that's with irons. So for the iron test today, I happened to find the same iron, T100, same length, same golf shaft, everything's the same, but I modified the lofts and lie angle on them. So we're going to be testing 4 degrees upright, 4 degrees flat,
wow,
and standard lie.
Okay.
So we're going to have an 8-degree lie angle range.
Yeah.
Additionally, with the irons for loft, we're going to talk about loft as well and how important that is. We're going to also test 4 degrees strong, 4 degrees weak, and a standard loft as well. So it's going to be interesting to talk about spin with regards to and distance with regards to the loft of the golf club, but then also direction as well with regards to the lie angle. And we'll showcase 3 different ways that we use to fit at, actually there's 4 different ways we use to fit at Second Swing. First way, you've got your old school lie angle tape with the lie board. It's pretty accurate, but there's always going to be some issues with that based on the height of that lie board and the way that someone's going to manipulate the club coming through as well. We also have golf ball here that has a groove right through it. This is a Callaway fitting ball, and we got some tape that we can use for lie angle there as well, so you can see how that's pointing overall. Okay. Dynamic lie. Dynamic lie is also another way that you can take a look. And on TrackMan, we were able to pull dynamic lie up.
Yep.
And take a look at that. And then, probably more important, really what I care about when I'm fitting lie angle is where the ball's going. And that's really the most important thing, because let's face it, I'm going to have an 8-degree range here. I'm not going to get an 8-degree range in my dynamic lie or on my lie board test, just because I know what it's like to have that lie angle off, and a lot of golfers, they will manipulate it, essentially. You're going to stand over that, you'll probably see that toe 4 degrees more up or 4 degrees more flat. Coming through at impact, you're going to do something in your swing to try and make up for that a little bit too. And with the testing that I've done in the past when I've looked at dynamic lie is, I've seen maybe a 3 to 4 degree difference. I haven't seen that 8-degree difference that we're going to see here. But it'll be interesting to test that.
But yeah, I think, in my initial kind of when I was getting my irons fit, I noticed right away that I needed a lie angle correction. If you remember, I had that right miss going on, playing Mizuno irons, which are naturally already starting a little bit more flat. So it was fitted into ping, a couple degrees upright, and now I'm hitting the ball way straighter. So it's something, it doesn't, a lot of times, like we said, it doesn't cross the casual golfer's mind, but it could really be something that can fix their game. And it's a quick fix. Come into Second Swing with your irons and, go hit some shots in the demo bay here, and you work with one of our experts, and all of a sudden you see something pretty glaring. So.
Right, it's really important. There's other things that will influence the lie angle too. If you're playing a club that's longer, it's going to play more upright. Shorter club's going to play more flat. And as you mentioned, manufacturers. Mizuno is a little bit flatter than other manufacturers, and there's other manufacturers that are a little bit more upright. The club we're going to be testing with today is Titleist. Standard lie angle with Titleist is 63 degrees for a 7-iron. So
Okay.
it's a standard spec.
Okay.
So like Mizuno is like 62.
Yeah.
So it's a degree flatter.
Okay,
Yep.
interesting. Well, we've got some comments rolling in here. We got one from Josh saying it's going to be super interesting. Finally bit the bullet and got fitted, but still wondering about my fitted lie angle. Says he went up half an inch, but also 2 degrees upright with Mizuno irons. So that's the thing with Mizuno we just mentioned.
Right.
Standard, they're going to be more flat. But then, if you make the adjustment, so I'm imagining, 2 degrees upright for Mizuno might be a little bit different than 2 degrees upright with Titleist or TaylorMade or Ping or whatever the manufacturer is there.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be different for sure with Mizuno. And then as I mentioned, if the ball flight is off, your lie angle probably is going to be off a little bit there too. So modifications can be made with lie angle. Today we're also going to be testing loft. So driver loft especially.
Yeah.
And then also we have the irons that I discussed here too. So I'm going to try and hit some bombs with the lowest lofted driver that we have. I've got the TaylorMade Sim 2 8-degree head. I can put that down to 6.
6 degrees.
Right. At the other end of the spectrum, I've got the Sim 2 Max 12-degree head. You can put that up to 14.
So we got an 8-degree range in driver loft.
We've got an 8-degree range in driver loft there too. Yes, there's going to be subtle differences between Sim 2 Max and Sim 2, but you get the idea. We're going to be testing loft and distance, ball speed, spin, accuracy, and all that there too. And we'll test that range as well. So we've got an 8, 9, 10 and a half, and 12-degree head.
Bombs with driver. We've got irons. Which do you want to start with, Thomas?
I think we start with irons. Get me warmed up here first, and then get started.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll let you get warmed up here over on the hitting area here. I'll get you the TrackMan set up.
Perfect. And then also, as we're hitting today, if people do have questions, it doesn't have to be fitting related to lie angle or loft. If you've got any other questions, any other topics that we've discussed on our channel recently, absolutely ask us, and we'd love to answer the questions there too. It's been a fun last couple of weeks for us filming. We've filmed a lot of different videos.
We have.
Oh, and there's been a lot of different topics that we've discussed there as well.
Yeah, for sure. We also have a brand new, format for the live that our team put together. So
yeah, it's awesome.
I like it a little bit different, but it looks good. We got the TrackMan screen up there. We got, and we also kind of lit up a little bit. I know there was questions about seeing the data and stuff, so we'll make sure we're looking at data as well. We can blow that up full screen, and we can see that. So
right. Yeah, it's great that we can see a little bit more data on the right side there. Let's get loose.
Matt says, I've noticed lie angle making a big difference in the putter as well. Absolutely. That is.
Oh, yeah, it's so important with putter.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're off by just a couple of degrees of your putter, you're going to, even from 6 to 10 feet away, you're going to miss the hole.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to be spot on with the putter. Obviously, the ball goes on the hole or it doesn't go in the hole.
Right.
It's huge. It's really, putter fittings get so overlooked.
Because you're hitting 40-ish% of your shots with a putter.
You've got to get fit for your putter.
Yeah.
You definitely have to. And then launch angle as well with putters. It can be way off as well depending on the loft. Yeah, so lie and loft is important.
Question here from Nick. What's a good value brand? Is Sub 70 one of the better ones? We've got a lot of questions about Sub 70.
Right, they're like more of a direct-to-consumer brand.
We do have some clubs that have been traded in, though.
Right, we do have them in stock with regards to used in stock. But yeah, we don't fit them. What we do with regards to value for clubs, I mean, Tour Edge.
I think Tour Edge was the brand that came to my mind.
Right, I mean,
you don't have a lower price point.
Was.
And if you haven't seen on the channel yet, the Tour Edge Exotic C721 driver has done really well in testing for Thomas this year in a couple of videos, and it's definitely kept up with kind of the more publicized brands out there. So that would be one that comes to mind for me anyway. So
right. All right, I'm loose after this swing.
Nice, quick little warm up.
I had to run to my car in the freezing cold and the snow just before, so I'm nice and warm now.
Yeah, I don't know how many viewers we have on right now that are in the Midwest or in the Minnesota area, but it snowed overnight here. Parking lot was white, covered with snow, so it's that time of year. It's we're back indoors for our videos and for, well, everybody in Minnesota is indoors for the next few months. Right. David here says he got fitted for I-10 irons back when he says he had a horrible swing. I'd maybe give yourself some credit, David. I don't know. I was a high handicapper at the time. I'm playing at same irons today, and he's 9 handicap, which credit to him for the improvement.
That's impressive.
What am I losing by not getting fit for new irons at this point?
You said I-10,
I-10, which would be
forgiveness.
The Penguins
for sure.
way back in the day, right?
But that's impressive to go from 20 to 9. It takes a lot of commitment, and it's not just going to be technology that's going to get you. You got to put in the work as well,
right?
Practice and stuff. But yeah, forgiveness is probably the biggest thing, and then just technology in general, just over time. I'd say, generally speaking, the last few generations are going to be pretty close. But if you go that old back, it's going to be a little different visual. The way it looks, the way it feels, and the way it performs on the off-center hits. And that's the thing too. I'm sure if he was fit into a set, it's more modern. I'm sure the Loft would also be stronger than the I-10. So just because of that, might gain some more distance if he is looking for distance. But I think what you said, the number one thing would just be the stability of the club head and more forgiveness at impact, especially off-center. I don't know enough about David's game. Maybe he is a really good ball striker, and that's not the weakness of his game that's kind of bringing him down to 9 handicap. But I would imagine at 9 handicap, there are some shots with irons that you're not quite hitting the center of the face. Those are going to be better with a new iron set. Right. So that's kind of the big piece that you'd be missing, I think. And then just the ability to actually get fit correctly. Because
when
the I-10s came out, fitting wasn't as, the industry wasn't as strong.
Right.
Now there's so much.
The process was much more dialed back then.
Right.
Compared
it
to
was probably your static fit and maybe a couple bull data shots.
You probably had your tape on the, You probably used the tape and used these things that we're going to do a little bit of today, but there was probably not as much of a dynamic fit.
Right.
Compared to what we have now.
Yeah, so that's the big difference. Is you'll be shocked, absolutely.
Yeah. So, how are we going to start off this kind of demonstration here, Thomas?
Right. Well, since right now I have the standard Loft, standard lie 7 iron. Might as well start with that. Get some good, starting points here.
Okay.
So I hit like 4 or 5 swings with this.
I will open up another TrackMan set here.
And then while you're at it today, if you want to screencast this, I just noticed a couple of viewers last week, they wanted to come back to see the data from a year or two. So maybe just screencast.
That's
and
why
you
not?
never know, we might be able to share it in the future.
So you're going standard right now, right? T100.
Yep, T100 standard, 34 degrees of loft, 63 degree lie angle, 37 inches.
Everything's standard here.
And I have AMT white S300 shaft. Stock standard T100.
All right.
Perfect.
So what would you expect numbers-wise? I know you've hit the T100 several times before.
Yep.
In terms of numbers, I know you kind of say 178 to 180 is your carry distance usually.
Right. Yeah, and it's going to be around about that. Kind of higher 5,000s with regards to spin with 34 degrees of loft.
Yeah. Carry
close to 178, 180. That thing was dead straight. That thing had 0 feet of curve on it. But yeah, pretty 178, 180 is kind of my numbers. That one I just didn't have as much club speed on that particular swing. There you go.
All right. Here's one from Chad, a good one. I'm 6'5", but playing standard length clubs. Could this be affecting my lie angle? And I guess yes and no, because it's not all about your height, but it's kind of just about how you set up to the to your shot at address and what your posture is like probably. But chances are, being 6'5" there's something to look at there.
Most likely you're going to fit into a more upright line angle if you're taller. If you're shorter, most likely you're going to fit into a flatter line angle.
Yeah.
So there's a chance. No, it's going to depend on how you deliver the club, that dynamic fit there too. But if you're focusing on just like a static fit, most likely at 6'5", he's probably going to be close to what I would say. Give it a shot at 3 degrees upright.
Yeah.
And see what happens. But I'd ask him what his bull flight is, because if he's hooking it or pulling it consistently, I would be worried about going even more upright than what he is, because it might go further left.
Yeah.
But if he's got that tendency to maybe miss a little to the right, it would be a good thing. We slow down a little bit here.
Trying to find the cursor here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, TrackMan's not responding to us right now.
Right.
Well, let's look at some more questions here while we try to wait for that guy to load. We got a question. I've been using a 38-inch putter a long time. I love it. However, I just changed to an arm lock grip. It's great, but now I think I should just add somehow a little more loft to my putter. Can that be done?
Yeah, it's going to take 2 seconds to add a little more loft to your putter.
I mean, I've watched the fitters here doing so many times,
Yeah, arm lock's an interesting one, because obviously if you're arm locking, you're going from here to here.
Right.
You might want to add a little bit more loft.
You're
going to
want to.
Yeah, because otherwise it's.
That's with when you're arm locking, you're basically super forward pressing it.
Right.
So because of that, you're going to want that more loft to get the correct roll, because you want to produce top spin when you putt.
Yeah.
And when you're not producing that top spin, that's when problems happen. So that's when you get like the backspin if you have too little amount of loft. So more comments here. Have you noticed if some brands' default settings are off more than others? I bought Wilson D7 forged, had them check loft and lie to be sure it was off up to 2 degrees on certain. I played less than 10 rounds before I checked. So have you noticed something like that where it's that far off? I know there's different standards.
Right. What I'll say is we double check specs, like if we're custom ordering it. We'll make sure, and we'll put it in the line and loft machine and make sure everything is right before we send it to the customer. So we do a double check on specs. Yeah, there's sometimes it might come in a little bit off, so that's why it's important, even follow-up fittings, even checking in there too. But if you're buying directly from the manufacturer, there's a chance it might. So I would for sure, if you can have access to a line loft machine, it would be a good option. Yeah.
So I think we'll see. It looks like the TrackMan is maybe overloaded a little bit potentially. I hope it wasn't the screencast that maybe did that, but we'll. We
got a lot going on here.
Might have to re-hit a couple of those shots.
That's fine. We can get going here. Technology, as you know, is not always going to be perfect. All right. Let's get like 4 swings in here real quick. Are you able to bring up dynamic loft and dynamic lie on the right side there too?
Yeah.
Settings there. Dynamic
so you're looking for dynamic loft.
And then dynamic lie is just right there.
Right there.
Perfect.
Get those right here in the corner.
Yep.
So for those just joining today, we're going to be doing kind of a little, obviously we're doing our Q&A as we always do, so feel free to pop your questions in the chat. But we're also going to do a little bit of a lie angle and loft demonstration today as part of the live broadcast. And so Thomas is hitting some various, T100 irons, the 2019 version, but with various lie angle settings and loft settings. We're going to test them out, see what TrackMan tells us. why lie angle is important. And then I've also got 5 TaylorMade Sim 2 driver heads in front of me here. We've got an 8-degree driver head all the way up to a 12-degree driver head, and we're going to test some loft here a little bit later on too, see how far you can hit one at 6 degrees of loft, and then what happens with a 14-degree driver head when everything's adjusted. That could be interesting. So
it's going to be extremely different. It's going to
Yeah.
be crazy.
I'm-
I'm going to guess 50 yards plus difference between the loft. 8 degrees,
Okay.
or even 6 degrees to 14 is going to be really far.
Right. I kind of want you to hit the 6 degree and then immediately go to the 14 because that would be fun.
Yeah.
But okay,
So let's take a look at the averages here and
we've
just
got-
talk about numbers. 178.4. I mean, pretty standard numbers for me with regards to distance for my 7-iron. I play a 7-iron. It's got the same amount of loft on it, 34 degrees of loft. Yeah, this is pretty much me in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's the first adjustment we're going to test here?
Right. So let's go upright.
Upright.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm curious to see here, if you scroll all the way over to the right, I'm curious to see what the dynamic lie changes here too.
Yeah.
So we're at 64.
Okay.
Was the dynamic lie on those 4 shots. If this was a perfect, if I was able to not even know and just swing,
Yeah.
there's a chance they might go to 68.
Okay.
With regards to dynamic lie.
Okay. So you're kind of predicting that the.
I would expect to be a little bit more upright. I just know that delivering wise, I'm going to probably make a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah. Mentally, you're going to make a subconscious adjustment, but we should see the dynamic lie increase. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would expect that to increase. And then we also have the lie board and we have that face tape as well.
Okay.
We'll see what happens on those changes.
So we'll go upright here.
Okay, so let's grab the upright. As I mentioned, these are all the exact same clubs, all 7-irons. So now upright, 34 degrees loft at 67 degrees.
So this is 4 degrees upright.
Yep.
So we're showing an extreme example here for the viewers, but
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see what happens here.
When I put this club down, instantly, it's like, it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That toes up in the air right off the bat, and this is kind of extreme. Well, that definitely wasn't straight. Yeah, so it went
There's
up a
the
little
left.
bit. So
There's the lefty.
64.8.
Yeah. Dave asking says, I ordered a set of PXG 2 degrees down. They were all over the place. Ended up taking them back and rebending them. So yeah, that's the thing too. I think Michael asked the same thing down here. Saying he was fit by second swing, but thinks his lie angle might be a little bit off to where he's striking it, and we do that retrofit. So if you ordered your clubs at Second Swing, or you purchased them here at a Second Swing store, or purchased them online, you can bring them into a location, and we can do a retrofit for you for free. So schedule a fitting with one of our team members, and then we can look at that lie angle for you and make that adjustment. So,
Absolutely, this time of year is a good time of the year for us to do that.
for sure. It's a good one in general, just to come in and make sure things are right. Maybe you still feel confident. Maybe something could be maybe a little bit off. A good time to do that.
Felt like a good swing.
So what are we feeling here with the upright? Do you feel like you're hitting it as efficiently still, and it's just the club face is angled differently, or what's the feel difference here?
I mean, it's more of just that setup for me, going
Yeah.
from being here to being
Right.
here. It's just where I'm looking down at it and set up.
Okay.
That one, the dynamic lie was a little bit more, so it's 65.1, but it's not the 4 degrees that, as I mentioned, I don't think I was going to see that.
Okay.
But if you just pull up that dispersion screen before I hit this last shot, I think that's
We're already
what's going
seeing
to
that
you're going to
difference.
notice the difference. Is
Right.
Yeah, where
We're
lie
seeing how
angle-
much of a difference just 4 degrees upright can be, even though it's not actually impacting your dynamic lie a ton.
Right.
You're still seeing a good difference on the dispersion map here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that
Hit it well.
tendency. Pretty consistent though. I mean, those are pretty close to each other out on the range there.
Yeah, so direction is probably, like I mentioned, number one thing is in a fitting is direction, where the ball is going.
Yeah.
You know, you can influence that by changing the lie angle up, right, or down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to add lie angle to the bottom of the club here. So
Okay.
Lie board tape and see what happens. This is a way to fit. As I mentioned, it's not going to be perfect.
It's not going to be the end-all be-all, but it's certainly a good indicator.
This here is 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah.
So actually this mat right here, if I put it right here, it's going to be very, very close in height here. So the numbers may not be perfect with regards to direction on TrackMan for this shot, and then if you are getting fit on a lie board, make sure that their ball is forward on the lie board. Because if it's back here, you may hit there and do some damage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So TrackMan might not even pick this up. We're actually just going to not worry about the numbers per se. We're just going to look at that tape here.
Yep, because now I'm in a different spot. All right. As I mentioned, my dynamic lie didn't really change. That one was 67, but you'll notice it's still pretty close to the middle right there.
Yeah.
That's why I always think that a lie board is going to do the right thing, because you can, where you hit the lie board at impact, it's going to change.
Yeah. I'm going to just take out that last one for the sake of the fact that you hit it off the lie board. All right,
so that was just a little bit left of center, is what we're seeing here.
Okay.
With the lie board here. So it was about 1 degree left.
Okay.
So my concern here is it would tell me that if this is 4 degrees upright, that I'd want to go to 3. I don't play 3 degrees upright.
Right, and that's not your normal fit. So that's okay. So you're leaning upright, but it's not quite matching up to 4 degrees upright.
Right.
So is there another method that you'd like to use then?
Yes. Well, I mentioned my favorite
out?
method is the direction the ball's flying, but we also have the golf ball here. It's got a groove right through the middle of it. We put that on here.
All right. So we've got while you get that set up, we'll look more at some questions here from the chat here. Ryan says, I was fit last year by Golf Galaxy. They swore everything was stock. Just got fit yesterday by Club Champion. And all my irons were 2.5 upright. No wonder I had such a hard time with an overdraw. Yeah, that'll do it. And that's actually interesting that it was that different for you. I don't know if maybe could your swing have changed that much, or are you saying if you're saying the clubs actually themselves were 2.5 upright and he was told that they were stock? That's one thing. But yeah, that'll certainly make a big difference if you don't think that you're upright and you end up needing the upright setting.
Yeah, that bull flight's going to change if you go upright, that's for sure. Okay, so I have this groove on this ball line right from the middle.
Okay.
Same thing for this next shot here on TrackMan. Because this isn't the RCT ball, or it doesn't have a silver dot on it, and it's also got a groove cut from it, it's going to have a teleslice spin. And the spin rate might be a little bit off. And also have face tape on the face.
Yeah.
But let's hit it and see what happens.
That thing just went sky high.
Straight up in the air. Yep. So it didn't.
All right. So what did we get on the face there? Maybe you can show the camera too.
Yeah. So it's actually pretty straight.
Here, we'll bring it to this one here.
It's actually pretty straight. So again, these methods aren't always going to be perfect, because that club there is 4 degrees upright. Let's do that with a standard.
I'm trying to show so you can see it's got the mark there, and it's actually showing almost right in the center of this tape here, where the groove on that golf ball went, which is interesting there for Thomas.
Right.
So what do you got now with that club?
I'm grabbing a standard lie.
Standard lie. Okay.
I'm going to do the exact same thing.
Because on this one, this is the one that's upright. Yeah.
Right. I know where that golf ball went.
Okay.
Oh, it's right here.
Well, this is certainly upright. And you can kind of see there for Thomas that strike was basically in the middle. So we'll see now with his standard lie. That's interesting, actually, how centered it was.
There we go. It's telling me to adjust upright.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the one that he hit with a standard. There we go. So this is a standard setting. You see how that ball now is way out here. Okay, that's because he's now being told to adjust upright based on what the sticker says here. So
right.
you're what, a degree or 2 degrees to adjust upright?
Yeah, so I went from 4 degrees upright to the standard
that's
lie.
another method of kind of checking lie angle. And there's the lie board, there's the sticker. And then obviously I think the most important one as we're seeing here is the dispersion map, which by the way, I'm going to take those last 2 shots out for the sake of that you're hitting on.
So my concern here obviously is the lie board and the tape is telling me that I should be playing a couple of degrees upright with my clubs. And we know I already draw the ball as it is. So that's why I pay attention to the dispersion pattern. And that's what we talk about in our fittings. We have that conversation in our interview process, asking what the golfer's goals are with ball flight and everything like that. As long as you're hitting in the middle of the face, you know that I do that a lot.
Right.
And I'm making good contact. You know, this direction is more important when it comes down to that lie angle test.
So, and there's that difference there is just, I mean, and it's something that it's pretty simple, but if you're a golfer and you're struggling with, you know, you're missing 10 yards right, or you have this tendency to go one way or the other, it might not be your swing that you need to fix. It could be a tweak to the lie angle by a couple of degrees or whatever, and suddenly that miss will be corrected. So it's just, this is kind of a demonstration to show that you know, someone might be just, oh, my swing, I keep doing this. Well, it could be just your clubs are not quite fit for you.
Right. Okay, so let's go to the other extreme.
Okay.
That's while we're finishing up here on lie angle, I have, let's make sure, so this is 4 degrees flat.
Okay, so
this is 59 degrees.
Oops. There we go.
Wow, that is different.
So, and here's a question actually we got in the chat, Thomas. So, asking if changing the lie affects the loft on irons, like you would see with drivers.
Yep.
Or
so if you're
fairways.
going to bend it, yes, it will. So you have to make sure you bend it correctly, and you have to tweak it a little bit to make sure that loft just stays the same.
Okay.
If you're in the bending bar and you're bending it and you just trying to go straight upright or straight flat, the loft's going to change a little bit.
Okay, so it is about kind of how precise and correct you are.
Right,
with
you
the
have to be
bending?
precise. Yeah.
All right, I'll get you set up here so that you have an aiming point. It's a pretty funny couple of comments there. Ryan says, lie boards lie. And then Dave responds with, that's why they're named lie boards and not truth boards. That's my kind of joke right there. I love that.
It's a good way to demonstrate it. I mentioned this is what I care about, is where the ball is going.
That is, I mean, right away, though, we're seeing that thing go to the right when you go flat. So.
Yeah.
So now this is, in terms of feeling, again, you're not really feeling anything really different, are you? It's just going to be the way that basically it looks at address is just, it just looks like you're kind of way on top of it almost.
Right. Well, it definitely is two things. It's for sure feel because at impact, I feel like I'm hitting here.
Okay. So it is the feel element to it.
Slowing it down a little bit. So I lost a couple yards on that particular shot. And I'm pretty sure if we do the lie board with this, we're going to see a mark out here on the side. I'm almost positive we're going to see that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's feel and then visual too. I don't know if I still have the upright one here or not.
I got the upright one.
You got the upright one? Yeah.
I'm sure you can see that difference pretty big.
It is. It's crazy at address the way it looks. So this sits this way, the upright one, so I can get the toe in the air. I mean, 8-degree differences, you're gonna notice it. So to sit them both flat and flush, the difference is gonna be it's gonna change how that club sits. You notice how that shaft's leaning right there?
Yeah, you can definitely tell that difference. Or you have to kind of see. You have to set the shaft differently to make sure that club is flat on the ground.
Right. Make sure you got the right one here. I got two more. This feels terrible at address. It feels like I have to be like this. hit that one well, though.
You gain more distance with that one. Interesting.
That one was hit well, yeah.
Would second swing do a fitting with existing clubs and adjust lie and loft, or is that just for purchases?
Yes, absolutely we do. Yep.
We definitely do that. And again, we mentioned the retrofit thing too. If you purchase your clubs at second swing, that retrofit is free. So you can come in and adjust loft and lie as needed.
That was a little lower. All right. Okay, so let's...
All right, we're going to see a dispersion circle here, and there we go. Upright, standard, flat.
Right, that's funny.
Pretty simple.
That's really funny.
You know,
but the one thing that I mentioned before is the dynamic lie. It's almost the same. It's 64.1 on average.
Yeah, so we'll do this here. We'll break everything down, and we'll kind of compare this. It's funny, actually, that dynamic lie is all 64 degrees. So the dynamic lie, interesting, didn't really change.
Right.
Dynamic loft did a little bit throughout.
So it's going to be always player dependent, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There. I probably know too much about at impact, well, how I want to present that club at impact, and
Yeah.
I don't want it to go into the wall.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Okay, so I mentioned I wanted to do the tape.
Yeah, just
on
to
the
see
bottom
on the
here.
lie board with this one. It's interesting because we saw the dynamic lie not change. We also saw when you went upright, the tape and the lie board didn't suggest a whole ton of difference. So curious to see what happens here.
I'm almost positive that this is going to look different. There you go. I'll let you show the camera.
Oh yeah, that
That
is
one
out
there.
on the toe. Let's see if I can get this right here. So this is the shot Thomas just hit. You can see that white mark there, way out on the toe. So that is where he first impacted the ground, and obviously that is not ideal to have the toe hitting the ground first. That means the club came in, like this basically, and I mean you're not hitting the sweet spot then.
Yep. So we're outside of the zone there, but even still, if you can show the bull flight, it's not going to pick everything, but it's showing that same general bull flight there too. But clearly that one is because I moved over there to try and get the lie board nice and level.
It's not supremely accurate, I guess. But
So we'll get there to that one and see if there's any other trends here that we notice. Otherwise, we can move off to onto the loft difference now.
yeah, so we've got here. I'll expand the numbers here. How about that?
Okay.
So, kind of let you walk through, see if you notice anything, Thomas. I mean, distance again, not like super crazy difference. Spin,
Right.
not super different. Really, it's just about where the ball's going, and left to right dispersion is, I think, the big difference here, right? Unless I'm missing something huge here.
Yeah, it was the direction there. My club path, it's kind of funny, was almost the same. It was 1 degree cross a little left
Right.
there with the
club
flat
path.
setting, but otherwise 1.1, 1.9. Just the face angle was a little more open on that flat setting at impact. It's gonna, as I mentioned, catching that's going to kind of catching the toe is going to do that a little
Yep.
bit. Catching the heel was going to turn the toe over a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, curve direction was. We know I like to hit a tiny little drawer, and I got 6 feet of curve to the left with my standard lie angle. Too much with the upright, and too much fade with the flat setting.
Yeah. Okay, so
Focus on direction.
yes, lie angle will impact the direction at which your iron shots tend to go. Actually, lie angle with any club, it will impact the direction that your clubs will tend to go. So if you have a common miss, sure, it could be your swing. It could also be a lie angle fix that could fix that right up, and you're swinging and hitting at the target now. So
And then one thing I'll finish off with here too, static lie measurements are usually a great start to start with. So generally speaking, if you're wrist to floor and your height, it's a great spot to start with.
yeah,
Most
for sure.
of the time, I'm going to say it's going to be pretty close. Yes,
Yeah.
it's going to be golfers that swing a little bit differently, but most
Yeah.
of the time it's going to be very close.
Yep, for sure. Well, all right. So how do you want to do this kind of loft test?
We already have the 34 degrees up, so we can keep the data for that one.
Okay. So 200 standard, everything is already up there.
Yep, so now I've got 38 degrees and 30 degrees, so stronger loft
All right.
and
So
weaker loft.
that's a 4-degree difference there too, huh?
Right?
So
And it
which one
looks
are you gonna
very
start
different
with
to
here?
dress.
Which one are you going to start with?
Let's go with the 38 degree, so 4 degrees
38
weaker.
degrees. Okay, so we'll do that.
So you probably wouldn't normally bend the loft 4 degrees weaker with an
No.
iron. Now, we all know with technology over the years and years and years, the lofts have got a little bit stronger over time. So this is now getting closer to a very traditional
Right.
7-iron loft from a while ago.
Right, this is actually.
But this is just showing the difference of how loft will influence distance and spin with if you're hitting the exact same club. What else is going to happen with the settings, adjustment is going to be bounce. So generally speaking, if you increase the loft, you're also going to increase the bounce on the club.
Okay.
1 degree more loft equals 1 degree more bounce. Same thing. If you decrease the loft, you're going to decrease the bounce as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you adjusted the loft on these, right? You didn't. I mean, it's still a 7-iron, and still.
So it's
you're
still
not,
a seven-
You're not
it's
like
still the
taking. You're
exact
not going
same-
and grabbing an 8-iron, and this is.
This is the exact same length. I went in and bent these this morning
Okay.
here. Wrote down what I did them at. So this is standard lie, but just 38 degrees aloft with
That's a
the
lot of loft.
T100 standard length 7-iron.
Yeah.
It does look like a lot of loft at address, that's for sure. Got any predictions?
More spin, more height, less distance than the standard.
Most likely. I didn't hit that one very well.
No, it still looks good.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What do you think about single length clubs and their benefits? That's a good question. Depends on who you ask. If you ask Bryson,
Right.
you might have a different answer.
I mean, we can fit it for sure. It's going to be unique to that player. So the nice thing with the single length, the benefits, I guess, is you don't have to change your ball position.
Right.
You don't have to change your posture or your setup much. That's the advantage of the single length.
Yeah.
I'm still a traditional guy. I can't do it. For me, the biggest thing is when I've got a long sand wedge or gap wedge in my hand. I like to chip. I like to choke down on it. It's really hard to choke down.
It's just unique to, with your scoring clubs, swinging the same way. I don't know. It's just, there's certainly a science behind having the same swing plane and the same ball position every time and the consistency there, certainly.
Yeah. I think there's a reason why the other manufacturers have stayed away from it. That's just my thought. I think it's unique. It helps some people, but I just don't think there's enough demand for it with the other manufacturers.
There's not enough demand for it, but it's not like, again, it's something worth trying. I think if you're maybe struggling with your iron game and you're trying to do something new, maybe that's the solution for you.
Yeah. Okay. That was a better swing.
Yeah, that's a good ball. For a mid-handicap player, what irons are you most impressed with? G425, T200, or P790? That's a good one. I guess it depends if you're that mid-handicap player, Matt. G425, going to be the most forgiving for sure of those. P790 is probably going to give you the most distance. T200 is going to be kind of a tweener there. I think that's probably the smallest club head though, so maybe the least amount of forgiveness, but certainly there's some pop to it there and a little bit more workability, I think, probably than the other ones. So depends on what type of mid-handicap player you are.
What your games are.
Yeah, if you're a good iron player for that mid-handicap range, T200 is kind of where I would lean. But if you need more help or more distance,
G425.
G425 or P790 probably is what I would go with.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at those. The first shot I didn't hit as well, so maybe get rid of that one, but we'll see. It's not far off.
That's fine. I'm going to take out these
flat settings.
These ones here, so that we're just looking at. So this is 34 degrees aloft on the white circle, 38 degrees aloft on the.
Yeah, let's take a look at maybe
T100
rank the
there.
ball speed direction here first and see. So I lost
Same exact club speed. That's cool.
4 miles an hour ball speed pretty much. My efficiency, smash factor, down by 0.5.
Yep.
Ball launched 3 degrees higher. Ball spun almost 1,000 RPMs more.
Yep. Yep. And then if we expand this here too, we can see distance-wise it's 14 yards, which is kind of what you'd expect. 4 degrees aloft. In total distance was about 17 yards. So.
Right. And then, so looking at attack angle, that hasn't changed either. Negative 1.5, negative 1.6. Landing angle is going to be steeper when you have more loft on a golf club. The height's going to be just a little higher. These are basically the same shot, but check out that dynamic loft. Almost perfect.
It's perfect. I mean, you go 4 degrees up in loft, your dynamic loft goes up 4 degrees.
Right.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we lost how much distance?
You lost, what, in total, 17 and carry 14.
Yep.
So, which is good. I mean, that's kind of what you expect.
Okay.
So now let's try the other way. Let's go 30 degrees. Just see what we get. And I would imagine we'll see a circle right on top of or ahead of that white one there.
Will it be, so you said it got 14 yards. Do you think it'll be another 14 yards further
I think we're
now?
going to see closer to 12 yards
Okay.
for carry distance is my prediction.
All right.
So I'll go here.
This looks like a 6-iron.
Basically is one.
It basically is. I might have pulled that just a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that did go far.
Yeah.
I was fitted for a T200 last year. Settings were 2 degrees upright, 1 inch long. I have Arcos, and I've noticed that my 5, 6, and 7 irons go left too often. Considering bending them flatter, how much would I flatten them? That's a good question. So probably depends on, like, would you want to flatten, like, only certain irons in your set? Or is that something, I guess I haven't heard of.
Right.
You know, and it's not, I mean, I
So
don't
I
hate
do
the
that
idea.
at the other end of the spectrum. So wedges, I generally do flatten just a little bit because it's easy to open and close the face of the club. It's a little bit flatter.
Yeah.
And most players on tour, they'll play a wedge that's a little bit flatter than the iron set. So I actually go half a degree flatter with my clubs.
Okay.
With my wedges. That is.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Because I've never, I don't think I've heard of somebody doing like 5, 6, 7 iron, you know, flatten those a little bit. And maybe that might be just the top of his iron set. But interesting idea. I don't hate it. It's just one of those you'd probably have to pay attention to it if you try it out. And, you know, because it could be a weird feeling then if you hit like 7 iron one hole and go back to 8 iron and suddenly that line angle's different. It might be a kind of a weird adjustment to make. But at the end of the day, if you don't, something that's not, that you don't notice that really, and you can smoothly, you know, it doesn't register in your brain, might work for you.
right. Yeah, I would double check them first, make sure that they are accurate.
Right.
And then maybe work with your PGA professional or a club fitter and just kind of take a look at that a little bit more in depth on those particular clubs.
Right.
See if there's anything different in his swing or if his face is closed or path or anything like that. Definitely hitting the screen a lot lower.
Yes, you are. All right. Well, what did I say? 12 yards? It might be a little further than that too so far.
Yep, definitely more ball speed, hitting the screen lower, spinning less. That is just.
It's a wind ball, it feels like, probably.
Right.
All right, dispersion. So here we go. Yep. It's a really good dispersion, actually.
This is some good gapping going on right here.
It is. And
4 degrees
so
apart.
My prediction was 12 yards more carry. We've got at the bottom of the screen here, you can see the T100
you guys 14.
standard at 178 carry. That went 192. So it's actually about 14 and a half more carry yards.
Yep.
Actually, almost 20 yards more of total. So
spin, once again, 900 RPMs less spin standard,
Yep.
and 1,800 RPMs less than the other.
Yep. And then the other piece to note too that I think what we're trying to show here is, I think it's often you play with your friends, you play golf, whatever, and you get to a par 3, and you ask your buddies what iron they're hitting on this par 3, and I think I'm going to hit the same as my buddy. Well, doesn't necessarily mean that, because your buddy might be hitting a 7-iron that's 30 degrees, and your 7-iron might be 34, and then it's actually about a 15-yard difference in your clubs.
Yeah.
So that's something that I know I've experienced the same thing before I knew all of this, the difference in loft and everything. But it's out there, and you should take note of the loft on your irons, whether they're stronger, weaker, whatever. But don't base your club decisions on that, or because it's going to differ based on loft, 100%.
And what the other person hit, how fast they swung.
Correct.
You should know your numbers and focus on your numbers as opposed to what your buddy's playing. And
right.
If he hits a 7-iron, don't try and hit your 7-iron, because the loft might be
right. It might. And this isn't to say it might be the right club for you. It's just like, just because your buddy playing Ping G425s hits a 7-iron and you have I-59s, that's going to be very different performance off the 7-iron. So spin too, big difference. Basically 9,000 between each. So
900
or 900, 9,000. That'd be a lot. 900.
Yeah.
RPM between 4 degrees of loft here.
Lower launch.
Pretty good trend there, actually, too.
Dynamic loft, I'm always curious on, because I think that's always fun to look at that.
There we go. 4 degrees in the dynamic loft, too. 19 with the 30-degree iron.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I laugh here. I'm looking at a comment that says, Thomas, you are a robot. Well, it's pretty robotic with regards to what you would expect with regards to numbers.
That's why it's nice to have Thomas on the channel, because when we do our testing, you're going to get a pretty darn consistent swing.
Right. So loft matters in your iron set. It's very, very important. Lie angle matters. It's very, very important to make sure it's fitted to you, your swing tendencies. If you need more spin, a little more loft on the club's not going to hurt you. If you need less spin, you can go the other direction there as well. And then combo sets. It's important. So if you're doing a combo set with an iron, make sure that those lofts are changed around to make sure there's good blending, gapping. We don't want these circles to get too far apart, or it would be overlapping. Otherwise,
you want to be able to have a number for each, or a club for each number that you might face on the course. Like here, you want to make sure like this gap could be, again, you're just hitting it so consistent every time, and that's probably why there's that gap actually. But you get a shot where you need 185-yard carry, you have to do some manipulating a little bit. But one question here from Dave: what's more important, backspin or descent angle with a 7-iron?
I mean, they're both important. I worry a descent angle. So I've got speed, so I'm going to generate a little bit more of a descent angle. Actually, what is the descent angle on a landing angle?
The landing angle here, we got.
So there's quite a range there.
Yeah, so 46.8 with the 30-degree.
Yeah. If it's below 45, my concern is
because then you get concerned about holding the green.
Holding the green. Yeah. Yeah. Can you see here with the 30-degree, 192 going 204? That's what, 11 yards. 38-degree, 164 going 168. That's 4 yards. 4 yards is a little.
So you're stopping the ball within 4 yards.
That
with
landing
a 54-degree landing angle. So, they both, they're going to correlate. Spin and landing angle are going to correlate a little bit, but it's just something to take note of. And I think either way, you want to make sure you're at a comfortable level. With 7-iron, you probably want to be at, like I said, 45 degrees for the landing angle. Spin, you want to probably have 5,000 at the least, probably a little bit more than that, 6,000 range.
It's really going to depend on the way the player delivers the club.
That's true, because attack angle will matter a little bit too.
Is going to be an influence there as well, and that's why it's hard to. Spin rate, like the old age would be club times by 1,000, so 7-iron 7,000.
Yeah, but
if I was going to spin a 7-iron 7,000 RPMs, I'd be hitting. My landing angle would also probably go up even more. It would be like 56, 57 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'd probably hit it, 160 yards, which isn't I would struggle. Yeah, so I have plenty of speed. It's going to depend on the player, how much speed they have to get their landing angle up.
Yeah, well, we're getting to that point. Maybe want to hit some bombs here. We've got drivers,
Right, let's switch. Let's play around with Loft with the drivers. And
Okay.
this is going to be really fun because this is going to really
So,
showcase the importance of.
We've got a 12-degree Sim 2 max here, and with that, we can move it up to 14 degrees. And then we also have a tailor-made Sim 2 at 8 degrees stated loft that we can move down to 6.
And then we've got everything else in between.
We've got everything else in
9
between
and
there
10
too, with
and a half.
either Sim
Yep.
2 Max or Sim 2, whatever it might be. So this could be interesting.
Same golf shaft, same length. All we're going to be doing is changing the loft around a little bit. I mean, the lie angle is going to be changed a little bit too. If we
Right, they'll
have
both
more
kind of
loft or
go
less
hand in
loft.
hand there.
Yeah.
So let's start getting ready for that here. I'll switch you over to driver. What do you want to start with?
Let's go right in the middle to start with. Let's go just like a 10.5, maybe like 10.5 Sim 2 or something like that.
Okay. We'll look at some more questions that have come in as well.
Let's put this head on.
My P7 MBs spin a bunch. Do you guys find those irons in particular spin more than other blades?
Yes. Yep. I've
Yeah.
noticed it for sure. It's definitely designed. Some irons do spin a little bit more than others for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've noticed that too, and I think we noticed that like I-59 has been a high spinner so far in testing. We've noticed like Shrixon has been a lower spinning iron, but
Right.
I mean, in general, the blades are going to spin high, but I think in
Because
our
of the loft,
testing
right?
of muscle backs, those have spun pretty high, I think.
Yeah.
Thomas, when you hit blades, do you feel that the club head moves through the swing easier than a larger profile iron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Blade for me, if I try and go a larger club head, especially with my attack angle, I feel like I just hit it crisper with a blade. It's what versus a wider sole with an iron.
Okay.
Yeah. It's gonna be player dependent once again, but
Right.
yeah.
Dave is wondering if we can get Thomas to get more ball speed with his driver than Bryson with his 4-iron. I don't really know. I don't know what Bryson's ball speed with a 4-iron is. It's probably pretty high.
I don't think I'll ever get there, but it would
With
be
a
a
4-iron,
fun.
it's got to be close. It's a 4-iron.
What is his 4-iron?
I would love to. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so right now you're hitting a 10.5 degree Sim 2. Everything is kind of standard, right? That's a standard head, so.
Standard head. I got the Hazards RDX Smoke black shaft in here. Good swing there.
Here's a good question, too. Do you find any benefit in dynamic fitting over static fitting for golfers that have inconsistent delivery?
Yeah, I mean, inconsistent delivery is going to be challenging, and that's when I do rely more on that static measurement, essentially, just because there's going to be different swing directions
Right.
and different angles with the face angle open. Like a 30 handicap plus possibly, or a beginner coming in and don't really know how to deliver the club as well. Like static lie is going to be a little bit more reliable. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It sounds like 167 ball speed is the 4-iron number for Bryson.
I think I can get there with a 6 degree.
You can. We'll see it. Yeah,
Right.
maybe not with the 10.5 degree driver. Interesting though, man.
Right.
That's a lot of speed for a 4-iron.
I don't know if I hit better than that first swing.
That's a good ball.
That was dead straight. Didn't hit that one as solid.
That'll
Still a
work,
good
though.
miss though. Lost a little bit of ball speed on that one.
Yeah, I've seen Thomas get into the 170s with ball speed here comfortably.
Right. When I was really in the middle of doing that super speed training, my goal still was to try and get back to one. If I can get it to 180, I think I got 179.8. I was like,
That's right.
I was like 119.8 or something like that. I couldn't quite get to 120.
With the club speed?
But yeah, for today's test, I'm not really gonna probably try and swing too hard, but I can try.
We'll see.
Yeah.
186 with a 5-wood.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Not with that attitude. I want to make a little bit left. Oh, no. Well, technically I was right.
It did go just a little bit left, but
it's very nitpicky of me to say.
Not much there. Let's hit one more with this. There's the miss hit. There's 4 right.
Well, so
Left the face open on that one.
here, we'll bring up the numbers here and we'll take off the 7 irons. So Sim 2, 10.5. There's our dispersion. We got the one that you didn't quite square up the face a little bit, but otherwise those 3 are really good.
Right. Yeah, well, so ball speed was, I think I saw 162 a couple of times, 161 on average.
Yeah, we'll go look at these here. Ball speed
Spin
159,
rate.
160, 160, 162.
With the exception of the one left the face a little open on, spin rate was
kind of low 2000s.
Yeah, 2100, I guess.
Carrying it in the mid 280s, total just over 300. Yeah, that face did just go open a couple of degrees there compared to your other swings. But all right, so
Let's go really high loft.
really high loft here. Okay,
Yeah.
so how high?
I mean, let's go to the extreme.
So we're gonna do the
Let's see.
12-degree head here and move it up to 14.
Why not?
All right, this will be interesting.
This will be, yeah. My expectation here will be more spin, probably a little easier to hit straight, less ball speed, and probably a lot shorter.
So this is a 12-degree driver moving up 2 degrees, correct?
Right, yeah. I'm going to put this at 14. So it's set it higher. We know what happens when we set it higher. It does close the face a little bit there too. But
Right.
just to
So this will
showcase.
be upright and yeah.
Yeah. More loft's going to be play a little more upright as well. Oh boy.
Excuse me.
This looks like,
Yeah, how's that look at address?
looks like it's going to go straight to the moon.
I'm curious on the numbers here. How much spin goes up, how much distance you lose. It'll be interesting. Wow.
This is why you get fit for the right loft with your driver. Just lost 50 yards.
Ryan's asking, does he have stickers on the golf ball? We're actually using the new Titleist RCT ball with kind of the radar capture technology. You can see a video on our channel on that golf ball actually earlier this week.
That one I left the face open on a little bit there too. But what's really interesting is
Goodness.
that felt like that was so far right.
So, and that's
But, like-
something to note. So, I mean, less loft, well, it won't go as far and you'll get more spin. Probably straighter.
Yeah, it's going to be so much easier to hit straighter. Maybe a little more draw bias, but it's going to be so much more forgiving on those miss hits. Yeah. This is this isn't fun hitting it this short. That thing was 196 feet in the air.
Goodness gracious. I'm curious on the, your landing angle on these is, on average right now, 54.5 degrees with this driver.
Right. Yeah, this is it's like a pitching wedge coming into the green. The thing stopped within 9 yards. Be great on a 260-yard hole. I hit that well.
All right. So, let's look at this. All right, so, interesting that you get that little bit of a left tendency here.
Right, and then I mentioned that one that was, it looks like I got that same thing. I have one shot.
Yeah,
face
it's actually
open
kind of,
and-
it's incredible how we got this little triangle here, we got this little triangle here,
Right.
and we got one out to the right
Right.
with both of them. Interesting. So like the kind of, yeah, that's kind of cool actually. Numbers wise, I wanted to discuss a little bit here. Your club speed's in the 110 range pretty consistently.
110.5, 110.6.
You're just seeing loss of ball speed because of more loft.
Right.
We see
Lower smash.
lower smash factor, launch
Higher
angle goes
launch.
up, spin goes up by 1,200. Carry distance, you lose about, that's 30 yards. Is that right?
Right.
Almost
30 yards and less 40 yards overall.
And that was simply, that's 3.5 degrees of loft. Right, because it's effectively playing 14 degrees of loft.
Yep.
And then total, you're at 264, which is basically 40 yards total. So, wow. Now, is there something, and then, so that tendency left is with the upright adjustment too, right?
Yeah, more loft's going to make the club play a little bit more upright.
Yeah.
And you'll notice on, say, TaylorMade's website, they'll say it's just like 56 to 60 degree with regards to lie angle, and that's because the difference in the loft and adjustments with the club.
Okay. So now what are we doing here?
Let's go the other direction.
We're gonna go all the way down?
Let's go with the 8.
All the way
set
down.
to 6.
This is going to be interesting. So sim 2,
This
8
is
degree,
where it
minus
gets
2.
fun.
Yeah, this is going to be nuts. Although here we might get, hopefully we'll satisfy Dave's request for that ball speed of 168.
Right. The swing's a little off today, but I hope we can get there. All right. 8
So what's the
degrees.
loft in your driver right now, Thomas? So
I have a 9-degree driver.
Okay, I know you were briefly playing 8 degrees, right?
Yep. I played around with it briefly. I couldn't hit it as straight.
Yeah, which is actually, somebody made that comment in here about Bryson, something about expecting Bryson to be, a lot farther than everybody else, but in the trees a lot, because that's when you go all for speed and you try and, hit the ball farther than everybody and you deal off your driver to 5 degrees or whatever he has his at.
Yep.
It's going to go further, but, the risk is it's a lot more likely to spray one way or the other.
All right. Yeah. I normally have played 9 for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, my attack angle, it got pretty far up. It was like 6 degrees hitting up on the ball. And I was like, well, I can probably maximize a little more distance by decreasing the loft a little bit.
Yeah.
I tried it. Yes, the good shots are going far, but I did hit more left than right with it.
So,
actually, more or less right.
Which in competition, you kind of realize it's not that extra, probably 10 yards or 15
Right.
yards you picked up just wasn't quite worth it.
And then it wasn't worth it. So then I actually was playing this in a small event. I'm like, what, just go to extreme. Let's just commit to the loft for one round. And I put my driver up 1 degree to like 10, and I played. It was the straightest I've ever hit it.
Yeah.
But it was high and spinny, and I didn't like it. So I'm like, well, if I want to hit the ball straight, yes, more loft's going to cause that. So I definitely saw those results outside.
Okay.
But 9 it's a good spot for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going to effectively play 3 degrees lower than you're used to, which is going to generate some interesting numbers here, I think.
Right. I have a feeling that I'm going to outperform that last swing. I hit that last shot good. Yeah, I missed it, that one. Yep.
Oh, knuckleball effect, though.
Yeah. Got away with it, but that was a miss it.
If Bryson said his new driver only goes straight, I expect 100% fairway accuracy next year from Bryson.
That's not going to happen.
No. I would imagine he'll be outside the top 100 just based on how he plays.
A little more ball speed on that one. There we go.
165.6. Ooh, he went after that one, too.
That was a little better swing. So spin rate clearly is being cut in half.
Yeah, you're got that low spin working. So this is, if you can keep that straight, I mean, a low loft driver can be a big benefit, especially if you're on a dry, firm course.
Right. It's that
and roll that
distance
thing out.
versus dispersion
Yeah.
is what it comes down to. Yeah. I just haven't hit one good yet, though. But that was a miss it again.
So And I mean, a lower lofted club is tougher to hit solid, or is it just about dispersion?
Well, you got to do something in your swing to. If you don't have much loft on the club, you got to somehow try and help that thing.
So you're really trying to hit up on it.
Yeah, I mean that was 7.4 degrees up.
Getting closer.
Right, and that one I left the face a little more open on. I mean, that spin rate, wow, how consistent is that low spin?
That is. You're keeping it low. Here's a question from Henry. Loft and lie. I'm realistic. I should play irons that help me more, but I don't like the extra offset as it exaggerates my typical miss. Knowing most irons have jacked up lofts, would bending weaker be a viable option?
Yeah, I just know that the bounce is going to decrease with it. I actually feel like I hit the T100 at 30 degrees pretty well.
Yeah.
It's an option.
So you're saying when you go bend the lofts weaker, that would, weaker would.
Well, stronger, sorry.
So weaker would increase the bounce.
So weaker would increase the bounce.
Yeah.
Stronger would decrease the bounce.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would just be something to note, that it'll be, your bounce on the irons will increase, and if he's a steep attack angle, there's probably not much to worry about.
Yeah, it's going to be dependent. I mean, I know it's a challenge because those game improvement irons, yes, they have more offset on them. Visually, people, I like to see less offset, but they're designed that way to help the golfer out.
Yeah.
Like, forgiveness is, it's you get so much more forgiveness out of it.
Yeah.
If you're,
or there's also like like the retro spec options like G425 has, or so there's ways around it, but I do think there's a lot of golfers out there that might be in that category where they need the game improvement forgiveness, but those lofts are so strong that they don't need all of that distance because they can swing fast enough. So I think there's a solution out there, and I think you're seeing it now. I mean, manufacturers are offering, the retro spec and the option to have your irons 2 degrees weaker than standard. But
yeah, you can absolutely do that as a fitter. Yeah. Any other questions here before we take a look at the numbers?
We only got a couple. We'll look at the numbers for Ryan's question. He said, how much RPM per degree of loft change as we look at the spin?
Oh, spin. Well,
so we can bring that up here. We can collapse all of this, and we can see the spin. So
order it by spin there. In
the first setting, so it's in the first setting, we've got it. Here we go.
There you go.
There you go. An order by spin there.
Yep.
So that top one is effectively playing 14 degrees. Then we've got 10.5, then we've got 6. So what is that, 3.5 between each? 4.5. Well, we got 4.5, then 3.5. And we're seeing, it's not really a perfect kind of trend because we got 1,200 RPM between 14 and 10.5. And then between 10.5 and 6, we've got 550.
Well, there's definitely a trend, but you got to pay attention to where you hit on the club face.
Yeah.
And there's so many other variables that are going to go into it too. But yeah, I mean, yes, my swing's kind of robotic, but I'm not Iron Byron, is what it is. Like, there's going to be some other factors that are going to go into that there too. But you can see that if you increase loft, you're going to increase spin. If you decrease loft, you're going to decrease spin. And it's the same thing, ball speed. You increase loft, you're going to decrease ball speed. If you decrease loft, you're going to increase ball speed. And it's close. It's pretty close there with regards to 1,200 RPM difference between the 12 degree and the 10.5, and then the 6 degree and the 10.5. There's about 1,500 RPM difference. About 15. Sorry, 500 RPM difference. Yeah. Because I don't think when you get to that point of 6 degrees, I don't think I can ever get something sub 1,000. So it's not going to be
sub 1,000 would be crazy to watch.
It's not going to be 1,200 RPMs less, going from 10.5 to 6 as well. Yeah.
I love the comments rolling in here. Less talk, more ball speed from Dave. We got Dave asking what your handicap is. Well, you're a very accomplished professional golfer. So
yeah, I play professionally. Yep.
Yep. So
I actually I kept my handicap on the Grint app just for fun to see, and I think I'm at like a +6 is what
Okay.
I'm at.
So I got to ask you, Thomas, are you willing to give it a go and try and get to that 168 ball speed today? Because
Willing, yeah.
we
We
have-
can finish up here for sure. I can swing a little harder. I was trying to keep the swing speed close.
Okay.
It was interesting. You did see the club speed did increase.
I think there was one that picked you up at like 114. It might have
Right.
been TrackMan.
Yeah.
But so let's.
But you would notice when I swung a little faster is that smash factor didn't actually correlate to higher ball speed.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Okay. So let's set it up here. We'll get. We'll see if we can get that 168 number here, and that might be maybe we can start wrapping up after that.
All right. I can give it a few swings. Try not to hurt myself.
Oh yeah, I can hear that whoosh of the club. There's a little extra whoosh to it here.
You want to maybe change that tag to just something, just add something
we'll
there
do,
so we can go
Sim 2
going after it hard or something like that.
max speed. Or, yeah, we'll just do that. I don't know. All right.
All right.
The people are intrigued.
Should be doing this while I've actually done like super speed training, and I could maybe get a little more club speed for people. I just can't hit the middle of the face. Oh. I can feel that it's not in the middle.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. It just takes one. It takes
Right.
one in the center of the face.
I know.
You're getting some encouragement from the chat.
I mean,
They're saying you can do it.
113 times that by 1.5. What's 113 times 1.1?
Oh, I bet you'd be like 168, 169. I bet
I
you
should
got
be
the
pushing
you got the
170.
club speed. I think you
Yeah.
got the club speed.
Maybe I should actually get back to practicing here. Taking too much time off. Just can't hit the middle of the face.
It is funny to watch you not hit the middle of the face and then still hit a drive 309 down the middle with barely any curve on it. 9 feet of curve to be exact.
I don't like that smash factor. It's gonna drive me nuts. Oh, was that bad?
Oh. Somebody in the comments said break out the TSI 4.
Right, I hit that wow, 2 or 3 weeks ago
Yeah.
on the live. Maybe it's the driver. Club speed's being the same every single time. It's a little faster, but nope. I'm gonna disappoint today.
Oh. It's all Dave's fault for bringing that
I
up.
know. But he's giving me something to pay attention to, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just can't hit the middle of the face today. There we go.
Ooh, closer. Okay. Oh, you're getting closer, Thomas. It's
At least that was
we
probably
can
more
we can
Standish, right?
we can it's going to be your call as to when you're done with the challenge here. Oh, that's going to be closer too.
There we go.
You
Wow.
are.
All right.
You are getting there. Look at the spin.
Look at the spin on that. I actually hit that close to the middle of the face for once. And that's only 146.
I've never
now.
seen that before.
That little spin. Well, it's a
that low.
6-degree driver.
It is. I know, but it's just I've never
And I
I've
wasn't
never
hitting
like
the
it
middle
looks
of the face on all the other drives.
like it just looks weird. Like 1311 for spin just looks weird.
Right.
All right.
That's pretty good. That's a. I mean.
You're going to be satisfied with that?
No.
Fair enough.
I'm not satisfied, but.
Well,
yeah.
I know you're not really satisfied, but for the sake of today, this is Dave's fault for bringing up the 168 goal. But Okay,
time to
so
practice.
we'll start to wrap up here, and we'll see if there's any other questions or concerns. I'll let Thomas catch his breath a little bit after swinging really hard. But Riley asking, how do the T100S or T100s compare to the X-Forge CB?
They're pretty similar, actually. I know X-Forge CB, the loft's like 1 degree. No, standard settings is one degree stronger, but I've seen the X-Forge CB spin just a little bit less than, say, the T100. Is what I've noticed. But
yeah, no, I think we have. By the way, Dave, we're kidding. That was fun. But the X-Forge CB certainly has spun quite a bit less. That we've noticed that in testing. So I think that'd be for the person that's curious about those two irons. If you're a person that has enough spin or generates enough spin, X-Forge CB might be a good option, because I know you really liked how that club felt and looked. And
T100 has a little of that extra tungsten as well, and it's going to spin a little bit more with that.
Yeah.
And even AP2 is going back as far about, because AP2s have always been a little higher spinning iron.
So again, it's just going to be about how much spin you need, and if you need more, T100 might be a better play. But any other questions or concerns or thoughts or anything from the chat? We'd be happy to answer them here as we start to wrap up. But I think people were entertained there by the chase for 168.
Right. Do we have any comments on what they want to see on the channel? What people want us to bring up, whether it's alive or whether it's actually more fitting related topics or anything like that? I know what we'll be working on recently is we just did how much spin do you need to spin the ball backwards video.
Oh yeah.
So that was fun doing that, and it's going to be related to how fast you swing at it as well. But yeah, that was me and Jackie. We were both hitting against each other and playing around with the spin a little bit, and attack angle is going to influence that there too. But that was a fun test.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of the videos that we shot yesterday with Jackie too was what driver in the building here at second swing can give her the most distance. And so it was a combination of finding the club head and then also, what shaft, finding a really light shaft and seeing how far she can hit it. And she certainly exceeded her own expectations, I think, which was kind of fun to see. So that'll be something we'll try to get up here soon. But
there's a box right next to your hand there. Let's show that and see what we've got coming.
Yeah, so we've got this. I could kind of tease this. And there's actually a video on our channel already with this.
Right, but we wanted to do
we'll
old technology and old ball versus new technology.
So a further test we're going to do, So this is a Titleist Professional 90. If I can, I'm going to try to if I can see. Oh, there it is. Professional 90. Wait, other way. There we go. Professional 90. I don't know if you can see that perfectly, but it's the tooth. What is it? 1990s, kind of the preferred ball on tour, basically.
Right. So we got a box of them here, and we're gonna play around.
Yep. So these aren't hit. I mean, they're in the sleeve still.
Right.
This is before the Pro V1s with, this is like the liquid filled cover or core.
They were great golf balls.
This was the state-of-the-art golf ball 22 years ago.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to do some comparisons with that and then 1990s irons and compare them to today and see how different things are. So we got some fun stuff coming.
That and also do with driver as well, like an older driver versus new ball and new. I mean, we all know the golf balls come so far. And and technology as well, but both of them combined, it's huge.
All right, we got some more here. I want to know why Thomas lives somewhere that it's winter 10 months of the year and he can't golf. I'm wondering the same thing for myself, but
it's related to having a wife that lives from Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean,
usually the woman kind of they do that to you.
I mean, sneak peek though. I mean, you're for your road to the PGA and stuff. I know someone was asking about what's coming up on that and everything. So, stay tuned for some of that because that, it is. I mean, in Minnesota in the winter, there's only so much you can do. So I know a lot of focus on practicing training and staying fit as well and being ready. That'll be coming up here too. So
it was very good recruiting by the University of Minnesota at the time to get me to come from New Zealand to Minnesota. There was a couple other schools that were in southern.
I do wonder how that. I mean,
season,
we don't need to get into details, but it's like if you're a Midwestern, in Minnesota, right, and recruiting a golfer from overseas, how that works. But
I'm not a fan of the cold. I'm not gonna lie. But,
I know.
Yeah. No.
We do our club comparison videos. We film them in the morning in the summer, and it's 60 degrees, at the break of dawn, and Thomas is shivering. All right, a couple more questions here we'll get to. What determines if you recommend a set of one-length irons versus standard set? We did talk about that a little bit.
Right.
Kind of depends on, well, I mean, it depends on the player, but I know we always look at, like, if you're, I mean, the benefit of one length is that the ball position can be the same and your swing plane will be the same. But I know your concern with it is getting down to the 9-iron pitching wedge and wedges of the set. If they're still the 7-iron length, you can't control those and be as precise with them.
Right. If you like to
compared
chip
to
with
short.
it, you know, I like to choke down on the.
Yeah.
with
So
those
I guess
clubs
if you're
there.
comfortable being in your standard, 7-iron stance, I guess, to hit chip shots and shorter shots, you're not. It's then that may be something to be to
Let's
look
say
at.
consistency and posture, and then if you like to say that ball position is the same every single time.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
if
know,
you
and one
have
thing too is the gapping purposes, because I know one of the concerns initially with that for like most players that aren't Bryson is the, 7-iron, 6-iron, 5-iron going up the set, making sure there's enough distance in between your clubs when you have the same length of a shaft. So
Right.
if you have enough speed to make that difference, I think it's going to be beneficial too. Easier to hit, Mizuno MMC or JPX Tour?
MMC is going to be just a little bit easier to hit than the JPX.
A little bit more forgiveness. Both are pretty similar though.
Yeah, I mean,
they're built
MMC
very
also
similarly.
does have 32 degrees of loft on it. It's a little larger profile from heel
Okay.
to toe. 34 degrees of loft on the JPX Tour.
Okay. How about, should I invest in T200 4 through 6-iron and T100S, or T100, 7 through gap wedge?
Well, speaking of videos, we just did that video.
Yeah.
We shot that 2 days ago.
So
Combo set.
It's the basis of that video is on combo sets, and I mean we're all for combo sets, blending them together. But
Right.
that blend is important because of loft and making sure it matches up.
Right. Yeah, and then that was the challenge is we had to bend the lofts a little bit stronger or a little bit weaker to make sure the blend and gapping was accurate. But I'm all for it. I mean, you could go 4 through 6 or 4 through 7, and
Yeah.
then 8 through with the others. Just make sure you're going to have to maybe go a little bit stronger with your 8 or 7 through, and you're going to have to go a little bit weaker with the
Right.
T200s.
You guys ever do reviews of Ben Hogan irons or Mira? We've done there's a tiny bit of Mira on the
Yeah,
channel.
we have an account with Mirror. We don't fit it that much. It's not as much of a demand for it, and we also have Ben Hogan as well. But yeah, we'll have to throw it in the mix.
should.
We need to do more Mirror stuff.
I mean, the feel on both of those manufacturers and lauded for feel. Especially their forged stuff, Mira especially. That feel is always highly regarded. So
Right.
that'll be something we'll add. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Ooh, a best driving iron test. Could do one of those too. That'd be a good one.
we can do that.
Those are fun to hit.
We actually just shot. We've done a lot of these kind of videos recently. Actually, we shot
Yeah.
a video yesterday, myself and Jackie hitting driving iron and talking about why players that
Should or
don't have
should
the
not
speed
have one?
should or should not have play a driving iron and play a hybrid instead. That was a really interesting, it was obvious. It was clearly
Yeah.
obvious that Jackie should not be playing a driving iron, and
Yeah.
she had never hit one before yesterday either. So.
She did not.
She had not. No.
Right, which-
Yeah. We did that with the G425 crossover, so that was fun.
Okay. Is a Scotty Cameron worth it? Well, I don't have one. I don't think you have one either. But I think with the Scotty Cameron, it's all about the feel and the way that they
The insert,
mill
right?
it.
No insert,
The
depending on
insert
the model.
or the
Yep.
milling and how they
Yep.
handle that. So if you put a premium on feel, I think that's where people kind of gravitate towards Scotty Cameron, big time.
Right.
Kind
It's-
of plus on the feel side of the putter.
It's a premium feeling putter. It's just gonna feel a little softer or a little firmer depending
and then
on
then it
the
depends.
model
We
type,
have. I mean, there's kind of a new line every other year there for their, whether it's the Special Select, the Studio Select. They got their kind of series of blades or milled, and then they've got kind of more recently they've gone more into some of the mallets, high MOI stuff, that Phantom series. So
Right. Yeah.
depends on what you're looking for. I mean,
They've got
it's-
everything. I mean, all the manufacturers, they've got a wide range out there. And you
I
gotta
will
find
say,
something.
when you do a putter fitting, you don't really you never expect sometimes what you're fit into, whether it's your stroke type or whether you come in there and you start hitting a mallet and you're like, well, this is actually really stable and the feel's not that bad. But
Right.
it-
Well, I think more people should be playing mallets than higher MOI.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little visual different look. But
Yeah, I think,
the resistance of twisting.
right.
And it's
That's why I
important with
have
the
I
putter.
have the biggest
When you
spaceship
have-
looking putter head in the world with the Ping Harwood. So, but I love it because if I miss the center of the face a little bit, it's still going to be online for me.
There was a stat recently, earlier in the year, actually, there was a PGA Tour event. I think it was like 75% of golfers that week on PGA Tour were using mallets.
75%?
Yep, 75%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been so you're a little more of a field player, or if you're field players, you have maybe a little bit more of a blade versus mallet, and it's just going to be more forgiving and more consistent.
All right. A couple more questions here. Difference between game improvement, long iron versus a driving iron. Pros and cons of both. So that's a good question. So probably someone considering maybe, I'm just thinking like a Sim 2 like UDI or DHY versus like a P790 iron or something like that up in the set. So usually the driving irons are probably a little bit bigger still.
A little bit larger, yep.
And a little bit, I'd say more ball speed, just because that hollow design in there's usually hotter and like more pop. So those driving irons are intended to give you that more distance and kind of more off the tee use. But the game improvement iron in a longer set can be, serve the same purpose, I think.
Right, game improvement iron, or even hybrid as well.
Oh yeah, and then if you're, if you're going for more launch or forgiveness, hybrid can be a play, or even like a 7-wood.
Right. I think if you're already playing game improvement irons, going to a driving iron,
you're probably.
I'd lean towards at least give the hybrid a shot. Now, if you don't like hybrids or higher lofted fairway wood, give it a shot. Depends on how much speed that you've got there as well. But my only concern is consistency, and it's hard. If you're a really good ball striker, driving irons are great. But if you're not consistently hitting the middle of the face, you can get punished a little bit on the sits.
Yeah. Hey, Drew and Thomas, I just bought a used set of AP2s. They're my first set of irons that aren't hand-me-downs. Is it worth bringing them to a fitting center to adjust loft and lie?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would do it.
Yes, 100%. And like I think you can go back if you haven't seen what we just kind of displayed here in the last hour and a half now almost. The difference that lie angle can make is pretty tremendous. So making sure that's dialed in is very important for your game. And like I've said, I think probably 3 or 4 times now, if you have a consistent miss with those irons, and you think, well, my swing is doing this, I can't figure out what I'm doing to miss right by 10 yards every time, might be your lie angle is too flat, or vice versa. So that's just something that I think we'll always recommend to everybody is get that checked out. Maybe, now is probably a really good time to do it before, we get really busy in here coming in February and March when golf season's right around the corner. So
this is a good time of the year to do those retrospect or do like a lie angle checkup, or even just check up on your clubs. See how they're performing.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I think we can kind of wrap up here. It was a lot of good golf shots hit today by Thomas. We appreciate everybody for joining today in today's live broadcast. Please subscribe to the channel and ring that bell as well so you know when we're live. Well, I guess this is going to be 2 weeks from now on Thursday, but live every Thursday at 10 a.m., just with the exception of next week for Thanksgiving. So we also are going to hope that everybody out there has a happy Thanksgiving holiday. And make sure you also, if you have a question or thought that we're not going to get to today, make sure you leave it in the comments below and like the video as well. So Thomas, again, thank you for joining today. This was a lot of fun. A lot of cool information shown today, and some good bombs too with that 6-degree head. I haven't seen you hit that before. That 1311 spin is fun to look at.
Yeah, well, I know what I got to work on now. I got to work on hitting it more in the middle of the face, so I got to get to that.
Well, maybe we'll do a challenge here soon in a live for a 168 ball speed again. We'll see if
I'll get there. I'll get on 170 here soon. Yeah.
But thank you everybody for joining, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks.